My name's Jared Zak from Dott and Crossitt Solicitors, and I'm just going to talk today a little bit about company title, what it is, how it's different from strata title, and what the risks may be if you're buying a company title property. So, company title is effectively the predecessor, the grandfather of strata title. It was the original way that I guess the lawyers managed to solve the problem of co-ownership when a number of different sort of non-related families lived in one big apartment block. So the way they did it was they basically said, well, let's have a company own the entire building, okay, and we'll give individual shares to people who live in the building that gives them access, exclusive access to certain apartments. So it was sort of a neat way to solve that problem at that time, but strata is a much better way to do it. And when that came in, well, probably over 50 years ago, most company title became redundant and everything moved towards strata, where you had sort of a regulated set of bylaws, you had strata managers, you basically had a whole lot of rules that were uniform and consistent. You didn't have this sort of situation that we still have with company title, where all of the shareholders or unit holders' rights are regulated by different constitutions and mems of arts, which aren't the same, they're not consistent, so people don't really know, for example, whether or not you can rent out your apartment to someone else if you own a company title property, or whether you can keep pets or something like that. So it lacks that uniformity. So that's probably one of the weaknesses with company title, is just that lack of uniformity and consistency in the rules. But for me, probably the biggest difference between a company title property and a strata title property, which physically probably look very much the same, is the fact that banks see the assets as quite different. So a lot of banks will not take security over company title properties, so they won't lend to you. And there's no real reason other than they just don't want to invest the money to get their head around that sort of security structure. There's not that many company title properties around in New South Wales these days. But what it does mean is, firstly, the universe of buyers for that property is smaller, okay, because you have less people who are able to buy that property if their bank won't lend to them for that property. And it therefore means that the price for that property, the value of that property when you go to resell it, might be lower. So if you are buying a company title property, just be careful. Just make sure you talk to your bank first and check to see whether your bank is someone who's able to lend to this slightly novel asset class.